Desperate times call for desperate measures. Meghan Markle is, get this, actually attempting to shill her podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder. Yes, once a week, she puts in a little blurb on her stories about it. But today, all of a sudden, she decided to have a full story talking about it and then sharing to promote her interview with somebody else, sharing behind the scenes video of her posing for her cover shot for the. I mean, it's honestly very funny and really pathetic and just reeks of desperation because this podcast, like everything else, has crashed and burned. And we even have issues with as ever, as many people are wondering, when are the products coming? You promised more products. Where are they? Why is it taking so long? And the longer it takes, again, the more inept she looks, to be quite frank. And so you have this entire situation that is just honestly bordering on funny because the desperation is real. Meghan Markle truly does think that her name sells things, but in reality, it just simply doesn't. She has a fervent fan base and she'll probably always have a bit of that, but the broader public isn't that interested. And the general, let's say, people listening into the podcast, after the first couple weeks, it dropped off into oblivion. We're going to look at the latest podcast stats, a look at this crazy Instagram story. And I'm going to tell you why this is so crazy. Because if you are somebody who is actually, let's say, trying to grow something, you have all these resources for promotion and advertisement, all these sorts of things. Why hasn't she been doing this the entire time? Why isn't she doing this with as ever? Meghan Markle, I'm sorry, when it comes to business and marketing and stuff, it's frankly very lazy and it's coming back to bite her. So we are going to get into all this and hopefully you learn something maybe for your own business. But if you haven't been to Royal News Network before, hello, my name is Brittany. I provide compelling royal commentary. So if you guys want to smash that subscribe button, I would absolutely love to have you back. Now, we normally do a section called the Crown Report here, but I'm actually in a bit of a time crunch today. So we aren't going to mention any of that, although there are a couple of interesting stories. But if you want more, we will be having our live stream on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So if you want to hear some of the latest royal news and various things, you can find it there. We will be discussing a lot of things, including an update that impacts a royal here in the United States. But let's get into this because as somebody who has been in marketing and business and PR, I find Meghan Markle's complete face plant in this area fascinating. Like, how is it that somebody in a $15 million mansion apparently has no stinking clue how to promote a podcast and can't hire anybody to do it either? And this has been a long-standing problem for Meghan. But let's go ahead and look at this story because, again, I found this wildly fascinating. And guys, she has just limped over the line as well into 3 million followers. Guys, the 3 million followers here is, again, something that I find really interesting because Meghan just simply struggles to grow on social media. I'm sure, guys, she thought she would join and be Kardashian level. And in comparison to somebody like Lydia Elise Millen, who now just goes by Lydia because she's grown this huge empire. She's a British influencer. She has 1.6. She has half the number of followers Meghan does. And I'm sure when she says things, actually product moves more than with Meghan Markle because Meghan has even seemingly given up on her shop my in many respects. She's not doing much on it anymore. But let's listen to this story because, again, it's fascinating. It's like, oh, the desperation is real now.
So I'm not sure if you've caught up on this week's episode of Confessions of a Female Founder, but it's such a good one. And it reminds me of that quote, wherever you go, there you are. That is what my conversation.
What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything to any of us. This is a horrible promo. Why in the world still can she not figure out how to hold her phone correctly so she's not cutting off the top of her head? I don't quite understand that either. I would understand if you're showing something else that maybe the angle results in you showing different things and cutting off your head. I get that, but there's no excuse for this level of laziness.
With Cassie is like, because 20 plus years later, so much has changed and yet we are so much the same. So
what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything to any of us. Like she's sharing these kind of behind the scenes things, but it's only insider knowledge that actually really matters here. But guys, as she is doing this, which she's never done before, shows you that she's really worried about these podcast numbers. And I think Lemonada is like, hey, this has flopped. What are you going to give us next time? And she's like, well, let me try this. Let me try this. Meghan, you might have 3 million followers, but you had that at the beginning of the week. You have that now. They're still not tuning in because half of the people who follow you are hate following you. I would guarantee that. A big chunk are journalists. And even people like me, I didn't even tune into the podcast because number one, I'd be like pulling my hair out the entire time with the inanity of your comparing business to growing a garden. Growing a garden is a hobby, Meghan. It's not a business, it's a hobby. And that's how you're treating this.
So I hope you get a chance to watch. And in the spirit of memory lane, here are some behind the scenes videos from the making of our photo shoot for Confessions of the Female Founder.
Okay, so your podcast isn't doing well and you're teasing this conversation. But then you share an entire video of you getting primped and pampered for your photo shoot where we got one single picture about it. Why do you think we care? Oh my gosh, this is so stupid. How is this supposed to help your podcast? Why didn't you do this the week before it aired? That's when this should have dropped. Why are you dropping this now? Why? It's too late, Meghan. It's too late for this. What the heck were you thinking? Now, I will have to mute the music here because I'm sure I'll get copyright struck, but let's watch Meghan. Again, celebrate Meghan. This is like so lame. She's so lame. She's trying to be like cutesy and all that. It's just, trying to be serious. She's trying to be serious in this shoot when she just does girl talk the entire stinking time. There's nothing beneficial for us as an audience to listen to her. So that's what she ended up using was over there. And that's it. So watching this, am I at all interested in listening to her podcast from that? No. This is stupid. This should have been done weeks ago. Why didn't you do this and put this out April 7th? Why wasn't this out April 7th? Why is it May 23rd? Your show is almost over. You only had 8 episodes. Why are you dropping this now? I think the answer is that the podcast is flopped. And she knows it, and Lemonada knows it, and Lemonada has told her, hey, this thing has flopped. It's flopped really hard. You had some good listens. It's cratered into oblivion. And let's look at it ourselves and see. Now, this is just Apple podcast numbers. I'm not going to go through everything, Spotify, or whatever. But I mean, a lot of people listen through Apple, so it's a pretty good metric. And this thing hasn't done well. So let's look. So guys, this is top shows, top charts here. So we have top shows. True Crime, of course, does well. Amy Poehler has still hung up in there, like been 1, 2, or 3 quite a bit. Mel Robbins has been up there the entire time we've been looking at this. We've looked at this several times, guys. And Jamie Kern doing much better than Meghan. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Has Meghan's little promo helped at all? I doubt it. I doubt she's on here. Let's keep going. Going. Unless I missed it. I don't think I have. She's not on here. In the top 200 shows, Meghan doesn't even chart. And she started off, guys, up here. Again, this tells you, which has been her problem the entire time, is that the curiosity factor hooks people in, but they don't stay to the finish line. And this has happened so many times at this point that her audience, I think, dims every single time because you get the curiosity factor, but that audience just is slowly never returning. So let's look at shows and let's look at categories here. We can go to business, her show. Let's see, where does it land right now? 60 in business. You probably don't know Founder Story with Daniel Robbins. I have no clue who that is. I have no clue who that is, 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 who that is. Maybe some of you know, and that's totally fine. My point is that there's a lot of people on here that me generally don't know, but they're doing better than Meghan. Somebody who has a cover of People magazine pretty frequently can't even get into the top 10 of business subsection of podcasts. Okay, top episodes. Won't even try, guys. She was never even in the top 200 episodes. Never even made it in. So business sub here. We'll keep going down and down and down. Is she not even on here? Oh, no, there it is. 100. 3 days ago, but still 100. A business subsection. This is from May 15th. Hers was from 3 days ago. He's only 2 behind her. His episode has staying power. Hers does not. That was a Dave Ramsey. There's another Dave Ramsey one. Been on longer than Meghan's. Financial feminist, doing better. Let's see. And how long was this episode? Because Meghan's thing, which I found is sort of interesting, is that Meghan's episodes have been short. Let's go over here. So we have 39 minutes, 40 minutes, 46, 46, 42, 45. Honestly, that's quite short. For a conversation, I would expect it to go about an hour. Like most podcasts I listen to, honestly, are about an hour. I'm actually getting in more to long form content. So when it comes to this one channel I watch, she kind of does deep dives and goes for a half an hour, goes for an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's not uncommon. Meghan, only 39 minutes. And then her extra bit is only 3 stinking minutes. You want to pay extra Lemonada for 7 minutes of Meghan content? That sucks. It's crappy. It is a flop, a failure on multiple levels. We have, let's say, 4 stars, not a surprise. I don't know if they tell you exactly where it is in the metrics. I'd be curious, but it's failed. It's failed. Let's be honest. And I think what is probably freaking Meghan out more than anything else, which results in this kind of too smiley story that she did. She smiled really hard in it. And I almost feel like the more she smiles, the more she's trying to force something, is that she has been told by Lemonada, hey, this has tanked. What are you doing? You got to promote this. Because Meghan comes into this whole business scenario not actually doing the business things. She's half ASSing it, to be honest. That's what she's done the entire time. She's half done it. And so what happens is that she, again, can grab a bit of attention and grab a bit of headlines, but people don't tune in because the content is bad. If you have good content, people will watch week after week after week. If your content isn't good, now, I will say I have videos that do worse or better than others. Sometimes it depends on the news cycle. It depends on, did I hit a story people were interested in? And for example, I did a video yesterday talking about more about Princess Eugenie and Madeline, and I love that video, and I've had such good feedback on it. But people love the Harry and Meghan drama, and I did curate a bit of that crowd, so I'm not surprised necessarily that it didn't do as well as I wanted it to. But I'm not like upset about it. I'm just saying that's the reality. I know that. I know that there's some videos I do that won't get a lot of attention, and I'm okay with doing that. But Meghan has a situation where she has 8 episodes, just 8, launching week after week, and they each should be building on them. What a good metric of a show is not necessarily did it start out strong, but did it end strong? Because what happens is, especially when you think about, let's say, television shows like The Office. The Office's first season was kind of crappy, that ratings were not great. But what happened was that it got on reruns and people started watching it and watching it. And then the show grew. Now, of course, with most series overall, they sort of peak and then there's sort of a steady decline. Meghan peaked initially and then crashed. That's never good because it does become an effect, especially if you have a scripted show where people get bored after a while, whatever. But like, think about something like Dateline. Dateline's always in the top of podcasts, and they're literally doing a podcast version of the show they put on TV, and people love it. People love the true crime stuff, and there's a story there, and people come week after week after week to hear the new story. Or there was a really great podcast I listened to about the whole Susan Powell situation. She was most likely killed by her husband. He ended up taking his own life and the life of their kids. It was just like this terrible, horrible story. But this guy did a podcast deep dive. I think it's like In the Cold or something. I can't quite remember what the name is. I'll try to remember and maybe let you guys know later. But he did this sort of long form investigation showing all the things that were going on behind the scenes that I didn't know about because I follow true crime peripherally, not like super deep. And he went into the super deep and all the things that was going on with her husband's father and the creepiness there and his family. Like there's all these sorts of factors that play into that case. And this guy did a deep dive on it. And you came back week after week because you want more of the story. People don't want more of what Meghan's selling. They don't want it. And what I found rather interesting, let's double check here today as well, is that when it comes to Megan's products, no as ever products are making it onto eBay. And that might seem like a bit of a jump, but let's think of Megan's business as ever. She had a big launch early April and then nothing. Crickets, even her Instagram account. Let's go back to Instagram because that is Megan's like happy place, I guess. Her Instagram's been terrible for it. We have this steep dreams. Please, Meghan, for the love of all that is good in the world, please stop with the stupid food puns. It's dumb. It's stupid. Please stop. Please stop. For all of us and for all of our sanities, please just stop. Please stop. And then she has this other one, pure joy in every petal. What does this mean? It doesn't mean anything. Where the heck are your products? I don't care about the flowers. What are your products? She is so all over the place. And I think somebody said it on accident. It was really good that she has too many fires in the oven and she can't put them out. She has too many dishes in there. Half of them are burning, half of them aren't done. Like it's all over the place because she decided to shove every single thing into the last 5 months. Like every single thought that came into her head for the last 5 years since Mexis, she decided to shove into 2025. It's a terrible strategy. It's a very fractured strategy. And I think it damages Meghan a lot because she needs to focus. And that's been a huge thing that's been missing. Because, guys, here's what's crazy. I put an as ever Meghan Markle products into eBay. None of them are there. There's no as ever products there. Although there's some of her like horrible, horrible, awful posing for we had the bench $3.99. Why does this matter? Why does this matter? Because nobody's reselling the products. Now, granted, they are food products, so that's a little bit more challenging. But I didn't even hear about people buying the products, being able to get them, and then reselling them at a premium because there were so few got them. This is what happens with big launches sometimes, like Kylie Cosmetics. It used to be, and I was watching a video and somebody reminded me of this. And I was like, oh, yeah, when it comes to products that are people really, really want, sometimes people buy them and then resell them at a premium. This happens with like launches of designer goods. If there's a limited number of the designer goods, sometimes they'll launch them online and people will buy them to resell them and add like $1,000 to the price. And sometimes you have to pay the premium to get the product because there were so few of them if you really, really want it. Anyways, all this to say is that Meghan Markle has products that nobody is reselling. I don't think, as far as I'm aware, I didn't hear any reports. If there was something, I apologize, but I haven't heard anything of people going online, getting the products and reselling them because there were so few of them. So few people got them. I don't even think it sort of whetted the appetite of the market. And here's the thing, she's waited way too long to restock. And if you have a launch where it goes really well and people buy a bunch of your stuff, you want to, in my opinion, this would be my suggestion, is to have everything out and then restock within a couple weeks. Why is it taking 2+ months? I mean, a little less than 2 months to get more products. Now she's trying to all of a sudden be on as ever social media more, but this has been horribly run. There's no ands or buts about it. This has been a shoddy business launch on every single level. And Meghan has nobody to blame but herself. She has all the resources in the world to get the best help in the world, and she's not taking it. And this is why I think things are failing. There was a Daily Mail article on yesterday talking about how things are just confusing. People are just confused. And I mentioned this before too. Her strategy is all over the place. It's obviously led by her, which is why it's a mess. She half does everything because she doesn't really care that much. It's a hobby for her, not really a business. She's not putting the blood, sweat, and tears into it. She's just kind of half assing it. That's like the only way I can put it. And then things come out things flop. And then she sort of tries to backtrack later and tries to re-promote things. It doesn't work that way, Meghan. You have to put 100% in to get 100% out oftentimes, especially in the beginning. And I'm sorry, but running a business or launching a business is not like gardening. Gardening is a hobby. Now, if you're talking about farming, yeah, but gardening is a hobby that you can do in your backyard. This is how your business looks. And people aren't investing in it because you're not investing in it. Meghan has to be the one to invest in herself. And she hasn't done it, to be quite honest. And we see the flop happening from miles away. She's tanking and she's starting to get a bit desperate because I think for a long time she was shielded from her own failure, but she's not being shielded as much anymore. She's being called out on her failures and she can't avoid it. And so she's getting into this tough spot where she's having to do the pedestrian things she never really wanted to do. Like, I don't know, promote her business. For some reason, Meghan thinks if she just slaps the Duchess of Sussex on something that it'll sell. But we've seen time and time again where that is not the case. And Meghan really needs to switch strategies because her husband has essentially given up on having any sort of big boy job. So the whole burden of their massive $16 million house is now falling on her, and the money is not flowing as well as it used to. I would almost guarantee it. And the expenses are high. And I think she's starting to really worry about their future because she had grand plans and they all just surrounded the name the Duchess of Sussex, not really the work of Meghan Markle. And as it turns out, she can't do it. So, guys, let me know what you think of this video. Thank you so much for watching. And let me know what you think of Meghan's terrible social media marketing strategies. I'd love to get your thoughts. Again, thank you for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Bye.